and welcome back to the 13 Days of Halloween series. This is a bonus video for this series, which is supposed to resume on Monday, but I had to create a card for the AAA card challenge anyway and thought I'd include it in my series. To start off, I'm grabbing a card base, you could say. It measures 8.5 by 5.5, and it's already pre-scored to fold in the middle there at 4.25 inches. I'm going to take my mummy die from My Favorite Things and hold it down using some washi tape. The next thing I'm going to do is I am going to take, so it's the feet of the die are on the front of the card and the head of the die are on the back of the card, technically. So I'm going to push that and hold it down using some washi tape, and I'm just doing that so nothing goes out of place. I'm going to be putting through my card, and you can see here that at the fold line is where my plates end. So I'm only going to be die cutting the head of the mummy, and you'll see why, because when I do my card, it's almost like a pop-up card. So I'm just going to go on to decorating, but you'll see what I mean in a minute when I fold it all up, and you'll see exactly what I'm doing, and I'm not just doing some sort of crazy die technique. This is a really fun technique to use when you want to have a really cool effect and you have these sort of people dies or larger dies. So now you can see that's actually the back of my card and the head's popping out. I'm going to take my Misty for this because I really want it placed perfectly in on my card. So I'm going to stamp the mummy now, and that's the one that we just die cut, and it fits perfectly into that place that we just die cut. So you're just going to line up your mummy and then pick it up using your stamp tool and stamp it. Again, you don't need the Misty to actually do this. I just like the Misty for stamping, especially when I need it to go in exactly the right spot. So I'm going to actually take both the sentiment and the stamp, and I'm going to do them both at the same time using some Memento black ink. So I'm going to pick those both up, and you'll see me ink it up here. Just going to grab my ink, and I'm just going to ink up the sentiment as well as the mummy. And then I'm going to stamp it onto my card, and then I can show you exactly what I mean and how cool this card actually ends up turning out. I absolutely love this mummy stamp from My Favorite Things, mainly because of the sentiments. They're just so funny, and it says just because. So this is actually a just because card. So now I'm going to show you what it means to fold it. So I'm just going to fold the back side over. Now, of course, you are going to have that hole in the middle of your card, but again, that shouldn't really bother you. And now you can see it's kind of a stand-up card, and it's got this really sort of cool pop-up. I'm going to go in and do some Copic coloring. I'm not doing anything fancy. I'm using N0 and N02 to do the mummy, and I'm using E000, E00, and E11 to do the face, and I'm just going to put you in fast mode for that. So it's really important to use the gray markers to do some shadow with the white. An all white mummy would be kind of boring, but you can use a little less gray than I used, of course. The next thing I did was grabbed a piece of masking tape masking paper rather from Simon Says Stamp, and I'm going to run that through my die cutting machine to create a mask to go over top of the mummy. Now that that's all finished, I am going to take a square that I cut out that is going to go over top of my sentiment, as well as the masking paper for the mummy, and I'm just going to put those onto my card so that when I do my stenciling over top, it doesn't disturb anything. In the end, I wasn't quite sure if the stenciling was really my style, but I actually end up really liking the card afterwards, and I decided to publish the video after all. And I figured this technique, even if you don't like the card, is a really cool technique to learn anyway. So I'm just going to put the mask over the mummy. You can still kind of see through it, so that should be no problem. And I'm going to grab this stencil from My Favorite Things, and you can see I showed a different stencil, and then I decided on this one because I thought it would be kind of cool and sort of spooky, you know, to have those sort of rays coming at you, those radar look, sort of is what it reminds me of. I'm just going to go lightly with my Ranger ink here, and I'm going to slightly distress the paper over the stencil. This gives it a really fun look, and the masking protects my images as well as my sentiment. If you're interested in any of the supplies, inks, stencils, stamps that I use in this video, just be sure to visit the video description below or on my blog. I have both of them on there. And what's really cool is if you shop through those links, then I get a small commission and I can continue making these videos, and it supports my channel. All the proceeds that happen for that go right directly into my crafting. so you all benefit from it, which is really great. So if you shop through the links, I'd really appreciate it if you're planning on buying anything after this video. So I'm going to just pull the masking paper carefully. Simon Says stamp masking paper you have to pull quite carefully and slowly or it will rip your paper, so just have to be careful there. And that's the end of today's card tutorial. So I'm really hoping you'll join us over at AAA Cards this week for a Clean and Simple Halloween Challenge. It's a Halloween challenge all month this month, so feel free to enter. All the supplies used are linked to below in the video description or on my blog, as I said before. Up at the top, you can click there to visit my blog and see the supply list. You can click on the right on the subscribe button to subscribe to my channel, or you can check out my latest Day 5 video from the 13 days of Halloween if you missed it by clicking on that video there. Thanks so much for watching.